Ah, the 80s. We used to be such gluttons for punishment, us gamers, before the great pussification began to take place in the mid-90s, transforming us into challenge-intolerant wusses who rarely, if ever, throw a controller across the room in a fit of homicidal rage. We used to actually play multiple levels in games again and again and again, suffering the same torments over and over and over again until we finally persevered, or just gave the fuck up. If you're still in touch with the sadistic child you once were, and wish you could be again, the strangely unofficial Contra spin-off Hardcore Uprising is here to remind you what a bitch you've become. This marks my second review of a downloadable title, and believe me, it's a mixed one because I really dig this game, and at the same time I really fucking hate it. It's old school like that. For instance, the original Ninja Gaiden was my favorite NES game when I was a wee lad, but also caused me more mental anguish than girls not liking me in school ever did. Hardcore Uprising begins to the tune of familiar Contra riffs and implies in the cool opening animated sequence that you and several other player characters are revolting against a dictator who enforces his will with an iron fist. Literally, as he's got a legion of metal robots to do his dirty work for him. You can read some additional information before each level loads, and you probably will, considering the bloated load times here, but story was never Contra's thing. And when the series tried on last-gen consoles, it resulted in talking bulldogs and shrieking plant people. So we should be thankful that we're back to the basics. This is old-school Contra. Walk to the right, at least mostly, while shooting everything in sight and snatching weapon upgrades out of the very air with a well-timed shot. If you're lucky, it's the spread gun. If not, it's probably the grenade launcher. No matter what it is, if you take so much as one hit, you'll lose it, but at least you'll still be alive, as this time there's an actual health bar. That might seem like heresy to some Contra fans, but trust me, since we are all now pussies, this game will still kill you and kill you and kill you again. Play it on arcade mode if you're sick in the head, or switch to Rising mode if it's too much to handle. At least in Rising mode, you can upgrade your character and tackle stages again and again for experience points that will ultimately make reaching the game's conclusion a little less insanity-inducing. Still, you'd better get used to playing the same level multiple times. Which brings me to my take on Uprising. This is old school gaming goodness ripped straight out of the 80s, but with a beautiful new anime polish, and that's cool. When I was a kid, I had to beg my mom to let me buy this at the store. But as an adult, I gotta admit, sometimes I'm just too much of a pussy to want to play it. And why it's not actually called Contra Uprising is beyond me. Still, whether this is worth your Xbox Live points or not depends entirely on your taste. Personally, it was nice to dust off the old reflexes and remind myself why controllers used to be mistaken for projectiles in my house.